Hey, Clipper Nation, we're back. Welcome to Clips and Dip. It is the end of the 2-1-3 era. Officially, we're going to go ahead and put the statement on the screen. Who wants to read it? Who has the best public speaking voice between the three of us?
It's Will, but I'll read it if you want.
Go for it.
I have it right here. This is coming from Young Masuk, who obviously is a very plugged in Clippers reporter. I don't know if this hit the emails or if this is on the Clippers account yet, but this is officially from the Clippers regarding the Paul George situation. The statement is this. Quote, Paul has informed us that he is signing his next contract with another team. Paul is a tremendous talent, an elite two-way player. We feel fortunate for the 5 years we spent with him. Over that span, he went to 3 All-Star games, made the most three-pointers in franchise history, and helped lead the team to a place it had never been. His performances in Games 5 and 6 against Utah in 2021 won't be forgotten by anyone associated with the Clippers. We traded a lot to pair Paul and Kawhi, and in exchange, we had 5 seasons of contention. Even though we fell short of our ultimate objective, we appreciate the chances we had with Paul. Heading into the offseason, our roster was constructed 3 great players, 33 and over, 2 of whom could become free agents. We wanted to retain them on contracts that would allow us, under the constraints of the new CBA, to continue building the team. We negotiated for months with Paul and his representative on a contract that would make sense for both sides, and we were left far apart. The gap was significant. We understand and respect Paul's decision to look elsewhere for his next contract. We explored an opt-in and trade scenario, but it would have left us in a similar position under the new CBA with very little asset value to justify the restrictions. We will miss Paul. At the same time, we're excited about the opportunities we've now been afforded, including greater flexibility under the new CBA. Kawhi is an all-NBA player, and we believe T. Lue is the best coach in the league. We will field a highly competitive team this season, and moving forward, use our organizational advantages to bring top talent to Intuit Dome. Unquote.
There we go. Paul George no longer a Clipper, assuming he's signing to the Philadelphia 76ers, given that's the only team that can sign him outright.
To the max.
I don't know. How you feeling, Adam?
We kind of anticipated this yesterday at the very end of the show. Will and I said, what's your best guess? Earlier in the show we did earlier in the day, you thought 15%
40 minutes ago, not earlier in the day.
Sure. Basically,
I said 10%
on bridging these two shows by about 40 minutes. I think I said 25 or 30 or something like that with Kevin coming back to the Clippers. Will yesterday shared the same sentiment at the end of that show. He thought he was gone and going to Philly. We all thought the exact same thing. And a report before the statement from the Clippers came out from Adrian Wojnarowski talking about how far apart the talks were between Paul George's camp and Lawrence Frank. And then right afterwards, he's expected to be pursued by the Philadelphia 76ers or go there, whatever. And then the Clippers statement came out, which I think was classy, and they took the high road, and I think it was accurate.
I think it's accurate. I think it's crazy it's kind of crazy this came out before he just signs with the 76ers. Like, it's like just to do a PR thing to be like, thanks, bye-bye, we appreciate it.
I think, when you know it's over, why not? When you know it's over and it's a player of consequence to this degree who's one of the greatest players that has ever put on our Clippers jersey, I think it's appropriate.
I think it's fair. Will, how are you feeling about the whole thing? It's official now. We saw it coming. Oh, Will's saying no. I think he's having audio issues. I mean, it's a weird way to end everything. The era itself, it's definitely the most fizzled out you could end this era. Just the staring contest and the news things back and forth. It's been the same news for the last 5 months. So, you know, the Clippers don't want to offer him the 4-year max. And that's been the same news. You know, there hasn't really been any updates. So it's a weird way for it to end. It's sad considering, you know, our recent memories of what Paul George did on the court for the Clippers, coinciding with Kawhi not, you know, it's tough given the recent stuff, but I mean, the highs were great. He played some fantastic basketball for the Clippers when they needed it. He played some not so fantastic basketball, but when he got here, he put on for the Clippers. He was always wearing Clippers gear. People really did believe the I want to retire stuff and all that stuff and, you know, win one for the city. Woo, woo, woo. It's obviously sucks it didn't happen. None of us want to be here under these circumstances, I feel like, given the highs we saw this team. But it was time. It felt like time even watching that last playoff series.
Had it happened with him being retained under his terms, getting the max contract, I think a lot of people would have said, is this really the move that's going to set them up down the line when we already know a rebuild could be around the corner, more of a reload, a retool? That's what Steve Ballmer has always said. They're never going to, you know, bottom out with him
they don't have
as
picks.
the owner.
Right.
Even if they had the picks, he wants to field a competitive team at all times.
Kind of irrelevant, though, because they don't have the picks. Which I do want to talk about. I know a lot of people are going to be mad about this perception that PG walked for nothing. But I think the statement made it pretty clear that the CBA was a huge factor in this, both in both sides not being able to come to an agreement that they felt was reasonable to sort of be able to operate and still build a team around 2-1-3. But then looking at the trades that were available to them, especially if young talent wasn't coming from the Warriors, i.e. Kuminga or something, which the reports now seem to indicate that was not something the Warriors were really willing to give up.
What a shock! The Tim Kawakami report wasn't true.
But I'm saying, like, you're looking at basically salary filler and a first-round pick, and for that you are hard capped over the second apron. Like, that's not better. That is worse than letting PG walk for nothing.
Completely true. And you've been on top of this, Will. You asked, who was it, when Lucas was on with us recently, if it wasn't for the CBA, would Paul George be back already?
100%.
He agreed.
Yeah, I really don't think it would be a question.
It's a fantastic point. It changes everything in the NBA. You have to be much more shrewd and being able to finesse the salary cap. You have to stay limber and make sure you have a roster that's constructed.
Eat your vitamins, do your stretches.
A little bit of fluidity to it, with just more options.
This is how you have to build a team now.
Can go. Yeah. It's far from what it was 25 years ago, and it's far from what it was just 2 years ago now. Yeah. It is a new CBA world. Clippers are living in it. Everyone else is dealing with it too. I think
the first team
Klay
to really
Thompson would be under contract already with Golden State if it wasn't for the new CBA.
Yeah, I think that's true.
So someone in the chat is asking if we think Lawrence Frank should be fired for letting Paul George walk for nothing. I think given the current CBA that Lawrence Frank should have been fired if they gave him a max, if they ended up ultimately caving and giving Paul George a max. I think that would be the fireable offense.
Do you want to explain what you just said 2 minutes ago about the advantages of getting under the cap now and what that opens up for them? Well, guys, they're going to get under the first apron, I think.
Yeah, just that trade from the Warriors, especially if you're not getting young talent, is asinine. Like, you're over the second apron to get one first-round pick. Like, I got to be honest with you, I do not see it. I don't see the advantage there.
Even if you get Kuminga, as much as I do like Kuminga, people thought at this point he might be in all-star conversations, and it hasn't materialized yet. Golden State Warriors have had their own issues with him, apparently attitude issues. Steve Kerr's been tough on him.
So I want to default 23 saying could have easily done a sign and trade, right?
Oh,
well, so I mean, what's your definition of easily? Because if the return was dog shit, yes, they could have easily done a sign and trade, but no return would have been the return that the Clippers were asking for. It was reported that the Clippers asked the Nuggets for MPJ and Najee and multiple draft capital, which the Nuggets were never going to do. And the 70,
but that's worth being over the second apron. Like,
absolutely.
That's like, not even a sign and trade. It's an opt-in and trade. Sign and trades aren't done anymore.
It just can't. It would have been a return where people would have been upset. You know what I mean? Like that's, yeah.
They weren't getting Kuminga, a first, Andrew Wiggins, Moody, Looney.
So we're going to have like a proper eulogy or whatever for the 2-1-3 era at some point after today. Raiders, Clippers, Dodgers asking, what's the next steps? Thinks they make a run for DeRozan or Clay. I think DeRozan.
They're definitely taking a meeting with Clay. We know that.
Yeah, they're definitely taking a meeting with Clay. And I think DeRozan, there's years of talking about him and the Clippers. I think they're absolutely going to try and click something on there. You know what I mean?
I do want to say, as I tweeted out earlier, like I have no issue with a professional athlete going out and getting as much money as he can. And not only is he getting more money, he's still in a great situation.
Maybe
and you can make the argument is a better situation in Philly.
What if,
I don't know if it would be that, but Maxi's really young, really good, ascending, getting better.
Oh, yeah.
Joel Embiid is a 2-time MVP or 1 time? 1 time. He's been top 3 or 4 times.
I mean, yeah, he's an elite player. I think
Laker fans chiming in with loads of creativity, aka just saying ha 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 ha.
What does happen now with the podcast? Are they going to have to do this? Is Philly going to be able to facilitate his needs for the pod? Does the pod end? That's the biggest question.
Maybe a hiatus.
Yeah, the podcast pod. Yeah, that's very funny. But I think the names that we've been seeing tossed around, that's who the Clippers aren't seemingly. There's no one they can really go for who's like a young 4 with the assets they have, who's like available for the MLE or anything like that. You know, like maybe Norm.
Young you good 4s aren't available.
Right, that's what I mean. It's tough.
You have to hit on the margins, and you have to hit in the draft. It's never been more important than right now with the new CBA, period.
Yeah.
And you have to play guys that are young, regardless of the growing pains, to see what you have if you hit in the draft. Every team's going to be doing it to some extent. Denver Nuggets have done it the last 2 years, and they won a championship during that time, playing young guys. Giving 2 guys, Peyton Watson last year, Christian Brown before that, who was playing minutes in NBA Finals, significant minutes.
Yeah. This is a good question from Junction. Is Norm more important to the team? I think yes. There's not a lot of go get a bucket guys on the Clippers right now, and Norm is one of 2, one of 1.5, right? Like Norm is crucial for the
Norman
Clippers.
Powell Hive is up. His value is up right now. And we all love Norm here. We've only thrown him out as a trade possibility because he's one of the more tradable contracts and talented players on this Clippers team that others would be interested in.
Yeah.
He's not that we don't like him or don't want him.
Yeah, there's a lot of what's next. I mean, I guess we're going to see in the next couple days. Could we do a Jeremy Grant trade? I don't know. What's he making?
It would just depend on the asking price.
Yeah.
Like what we would have to give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they selling low?
I can't imagine.
We should advise everyone that the 1 hour and 40-minute podcast we just did was pretty thorough with options for the Clippers if Paul George ended up leaving, which is now official.
It's funny that it's official
10 minutes ago.
Yeah. It is funny that it's official like this. They're just like, sorry, PG, we're taking your thunder. You don't get to announce this.
I don't think it's that. I think it's just keeping the fans informed and being classy about it. Tip of the cap to Paul George, but we couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder.
Why drag it out any longer from the Clippers' point of view if they know what the impasse is and it's not going to happen with the 4-year contract?
I wonder who they were talking about when they were talking about in that statement the other the other sign and trade possibilities that would have put them in the same bucket. Because they mentioned in that statement, like we had some other sign and trade options, but it would have put us in the same apron issue.
I think what this really does is putting out the statement lets everyone know I think it's out of respect to Paul George in case they go make a move right now on the margins. And it's not going to let Paul George know he's not going to be a Clipper or it's totally over because of that. They're letting everyone know in a statement outside of just making another move that would have sucked up that much salary cap.
Yeah, this is a great comment from Buggy Fresh. First time the Clippers want to keep their fans informed. That's pretty funny. It's a good bit. Buggy Fresh.
Very true. Also, looking at the Jeremy Grant numbers, like there's no way to get under the tax. I don't think there's any way to get under the tax. He's at $30 million next year, and then it's an escalating contract every year until like 36, which isn't. It's not insane with the way the cap is rising. It's just we're just gonna have to wait for the next couple of days to see how hard they want to pivot. Like, as we mentioned on the last podcast, which was a lot longer, like there's a huge incentive for them to get under the tax, even just for one season, because that would take them out of the repeater tax, which would save them like hundreds of millions of dollars. Which I don't really care about billionaires saving money, but like from their perspective, I'm curious how they're going to weigh that.
$110 million for Eric Gordon, when you look back on his production from this season, didn't make a lot of sense. At the time, people said the Clippers are going to regret this one. Oh, he went to Phoenix. Look out. Yeah, what'd that amount to? Nothing.
This has been brought up a couple times, just the idea of trading Kawhi. I don't know if I don't think James Harden comes back to a team that was going to trade Kawhi or anything like that. I think Kawhi, unless things can obviously change during the season. But I think
they are not. I got to be honest with you. I do not believe, unless like the sweetheartest of deals were out there, which considering Kawhi and what his value might be, having not played a playoff, like not having had a healthy playoff in 4 years, I don't think that deal exists. So aside from that, like there's no way they're trading Kawhi before the opening of Intuit Dome. It's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. There's no universe where that happens unless some team is like, we're ready to sell the farm for Kawhi right now.
Wouldn't they have to reestablish his value, meaning show that he is healthy off of the last knee injury before a team came in saying this is what we'll offer? I just don't see that happening right now. And I agree with Will. Like they're going into Intuit Dome with Kawhi and James Harden.
Yeah, I mean, it's people pretend like that's not big of an issue, but it absolutely is something the ownership is thinking about.
And like you said, down the line, could they pivot? Sure. James Harden is on a 1-1. Like he's likely going to take if he has a great year, he's going to likely opt out.
Yeah. Michael Yoon keeps bringing this up in the chat as the other plan is they get Joe Ingles second option.
If you can't beat them, have them join
them join you and then beat them up. I don't know. Yeah, weird day. Just a weird way for the whole era to end. It just feels, it's like when you light a firework and it just kind of goes and it just goes off. And it just doesn't, I don't know. Yeah, it's a blip. It's so weird that it ends like this, I guess. Maybe I'm waxing too nostalgic for it, but like just a fizzle of statements back and forth and then the statement's just over.
It wasn't sudden. It wasn't unexpected. It wasn't a huge surprise. It was in some ways anticlimactic, I'm sure, even on
absolutely anticlimactic.
From the NBA buzz point of view, this isn't some huge shock to the NBA landscape or the world.
No, this has been like the Austin Powers stop with the slow steamroller for months now.
Yeah.
That's such a great bit.
If you've been reading those tea leaves, they have been leading us to this point.
I don't think anyone's read more tea leaves than Clippers Twitter in the last 4 months.
Also, somebody just said in the chat, like, title window officially closed. And I just want to say, if Paul George had returned, especially at the contract he was looking at. Title window still firmly closed, and you also have zero maneuverability. Like, you can't even try and get better. Like, if one of those two goes down, like, you got Jack. Like, I mean, the title window is closed.
Jack.
It was closed. It was closed either way. Sorry.
I'm gonna reserve.
This last year was the final chance. Didn't happen. Sucks, but that's what it is. Let's have some fun. Let's stop chasing a title and start chasing a little bit of fun.
No. I don't want that. I don't want that.
Two of the greatest players ever on the team.
Funny.
Still, I don't think it's out of question or out of possibility. Again, the Dallas Mavericks were not supposed to get as far as they did. Things opened up in their favor. Every title-winning team has had good fortune and good luck. Clippers have not had a lot of that. But if things actually lined up for once, you have to meet the moment, right? You have to be prepared for the moment should an opportunity arise. That's where you have to be. And if Kawhi's healthy and James Harden's healthy, I think it's not totally out of the question.
Not totally out of the question.
Objective, have fun.
Will's got a clip.
You would have loved Russell Westbrook.
The pursuit for fun.
Yeah.
No, I said fun. I wanted to watch fun, not a guy go 8 for 34. That's not fun.
Fair. That's fair. Michael Hashimoto with a good point too. That's other than trade PG. They were hurt. It was a health issue. It's hard to trade hurt guys. More than twice.
Again, for all inquiries about what's next, who are the guys? What do we feel about player X, player Y? We just did a hour 40 podcast that just posted right before this that you guys should check out after this.
Yeah, it'll shake up too. We're gonna have I hope there's more news coming up. The Clippers have some maneuvering that they're able to do, given the taxpayer MLE and all of these things that are to come to fruition.
And we'll get to it all, but unless it's some big out of nowhere type of move.
Are we going back on for a Russ trade?
I don't think so.
You're absolutely not.
I think everyone knows this pod's stance on that.
Yeah.
And the tears that would flow from you guys, especially.
Oh yeah. We're gonna put this one up on audio, I think, right?
We'll do it. We'll do it all. We'll do it right.
Okay, Jeremy Mormon, give us a goddamn break. We don't have dips on the lives, okay? Things were too fluid.
We did
the
on
dip
the first
CBA
one.
also
like
restrictive.
This is the third straight day of streaming around free agency.
Also, Jeremy Mormon, thank you for watching. You're always in these streams. We appreciate it.
Thank you for keeping us honest. We deserve the criticism. We hear it. We accept it.
Hey,
we're all about having fun over here, much like your 24-25 Los Angeles Clippers.
Dude,
for everyone,
forget the chip. It's time to dip, baby.
A have fun agenda is going to be insane.
For everyone,
I'm not on the have fun agenda. Sorry, go ahead.
Forget the chip. It's time to dip. Is a great time.
I know what were you about to say.
For everyone pining for this show and saying we were lazy and not doing enough shows during this period of uncertainty, I hope you got your fill over the last couple of days.
It's been a good time. We'll see y'all probably soon. I don't know. We might have to take tomorrow off. Shanine is saying we've been moody this past week. Give us a break. But that I say give us a damn break.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hot. 213's over. We did have good dips. But we gotta go. I need to go eat food or something. I'm gonna get out of here. Hope everyone has a great rest of your night. We'll be back. Let's go Clips. And as Will would say, let's just have some fun.